thanks everyone who joined this evening to learn something new, maybe not new, but something interesting about hiring process and about the way you can improve it. Actually, this talk based on my experience, not just interviewing, but experience working in fast-growing company, and context about this case. Actually, I will describe later when we can see the case exactly and how we can improve our process, which is take us not like 3 months or 1 month, and it actually takes us more than 6 months. So I want you to understand that the improvement in anything, in any process, it's not like fast changes and you improve immediately. It takes time, and you should be patient about it. Also, as usual, the small disclaimer about everything, like all my this is thoughts you will see here are my own and based on my personal biases and my personal experience. If you had another experience or you have your own biases, we can discuss it later after talk, and maybe you can share your experience in hiring process, actually. So a couple of words about myself. I'm calling myself a Skywalker and provider quality products because my passion is to make quality software. And actually, the second, my passion is about learning and teaching other QA. So I'm creating the QA Pro in IT. And one more hobby I have, like during my last 10 years, probably I'm DJ. So I'm playing on different corporate events and other kind of stuff. So in case you're interested in my sets, I can share the link, how I play, what kind of music I play after the talk.
It's very handy for your company. No need to hire someone external.
That's true. Also, in terms of teaching other, I provide the mentoring, I would say consultings and one-on-one, so you can just scan this QR code and see what can I propose for you, for your growth, to your understanding. You want to learn something new. And basically, this is our agenda for today. And I want us firstly understand why this topic about the hiring process and efficient hiring process is important. And also we will try to describe the ideal hiring process and how in general it looks like. Then we discuss the pros and cons of this process. And after that, we can describe and we can discuss my case I have. And for sure, we will have some conclusions, and I will maybe share my thought that you can do, like what your next steps could be to improve your hiring process right now. But before we can start and discuss about why this topic is important, I want to ask you about how do you feel right now as a hiring person when you hire people, or if you need to hire another person and you need to review numerous of different CV, make a lot of technical interviews. How do you feel it? Do you feel like this girl on the left, or do you feel like this girl on the right? Write a number in the chat, actually. It's really interesting how you feel about the hiring process in your company. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm feeling like a pencil in the hands with this girl.
Yeah. And I can understand it, because actually for me, when I'm talking about hiring, I understand it how, okay, it's another person who can join our team, and I'm curious, find the suitable person for my team to help me grow, to help me make results in the company. So I'm really more about the second one. But sometimes when I'm trying to figure out how we in general hiring and what the numbers of these CVs sending to me, and I need to review, or not even me. For example, in some companies, we have sourcers or recruiters that do the job actually before, and I don't see many bad, I would say, CVs. So I'm in this case, I'm pretty confident and lucky to have such person if I'm not doing this. But the next one, for sure, why this important? Even now, trending going down with intents of hiring person, still a lot of candidates looking for a job. And still many companies looking for their new colleagues. And the next one, the last one, why is this important? Because this process in general really costly. It's a lot of money in terms of process if it is not optimized. Because in my opinion, the hiring process is not only a recruitment process, which we will describe in this topic, but also the hiring process starts in early when we understand that the person is needed, and finishes when the person is onboarded to our team. Not only accept offer, and it also can join our team in a couple of weeks or months or several months, but also when he joined, he has onboarding, and then he has probation period. And if you're making bad hiring, so in this case, you can lose a lot of money if the person is not qualified for the job and fails his probation period. But before we go on further, let's start to think, what is the ideal hiring process? How you can try to imagine this ideal process. For sure, you can start thinking about, okay, the ideal process is this. We need to do something like sourcing, find CV, the proper person, and then this. But on my opinion and my experience, the ideal is how you can imagine ideal. So it's when you hire a person to the company without conducting interviews. Like, you don't need interviews, and also you don't need additional stages for the candidate, and he or she can start his duties right away of getting and signing the offer. So it means, like, okay, you are the company or the hiring person, you want a specific person to your company or to your team, and here is person looking for a job, and in one time you just have a perfect match, and you send him offer, or she offer, she signed it right away, and on the next day probably she can start her or his duties. This is ideal process. For sure, this is not how the hiring process looks in general. And let's discuss this one. The hiring process in general looks like this. We do sourcing. Sometimes you do sourcing by yourself, or sometimes company have sourcers. They're looking for a specific person in LinkedIn or any recruitment services. And then when they find proper person, they they are asking to join and send CVs. So you are doing CV screening. The time is going. Then when CV screening is done and the person is okay from recruiter or sourcer perspective, so you have recruitment screening, like you meet in person, you talk, you communicate about anything about the job, the recruitment, telling about the company. And then if everything is okay, sometimes, in most cases, in general, you receive the test task, the home assignment, you just filling out some forms, you do some programming probably. And the time still coming. Yeah, the time is going. Then the next step, the next stage is technical interview. You're preparing for technical interview as for example, the person who make interview and the person who joined this interview, if you want to find a job. And then everything is okay, you're waiting for the feedback that your team decided to go or not to go with the person. Then the next step, you assign the culture fit interview or system design interview or any other stages you can have. And then you have probably you would have a team interview if the person fits to the team or any other something like this interview. And then everything is okay, so you will have an offer. And after that, the person need to wait for this offer and then to sign. And after the sign, you waiting for the person to start his, I mean, depending on, I don't know, how it calls. I forgot. Notification period. Yeah. When you tell notification period, usually starting from 2 weeks if the person working in another company. So if you combine all the time you spend for hiring the one person, so it takes a lot of months. Usually it's around 3 months, as I can remember. In big companies like Amazon, for example, the hiring process could be up to 9 months. So the team looking for one QA, senior QA, for 9 months for his team. And for me, it's quite okay. I don't want to spend much time for reviewing CV, make technical interviews and so on. I want the person join my team right away and faster as possible. And when we start to think about the pros and cons, and we can see that these many stages, we still not confident about the candidate. And probably we found the person we are looking for. And in general, stages, I can't find more pros in this process. Maybe if you can find in this process, you can write in the comment in the chat. Also, I see a lot of cons here. The cons is it's time consuming. So you as hiring manager or hiring person, you need to spend a lot of time to review CVs, to conduct a technical interview, to provide feedbacks, right? Many stages, make decision, and time, it's really a lot of time. Also, because this is your time, and not only yours, your manager, recruiters, sourcers, and any other person, you spend a lot of amount of time, so it makes really expensive. And you still not 100% confident in the candidate, right? And if you fail in some stages, if the person fails or your hiring process fails, so you need to start again from the beginning, right? And in this case, we can see, like, if you need the person right now, you can place it in in this scenario, you can find it fast, right? And so you have also huge lag between when you open the vacancy, when you understand that you need to find a specific person, and when you finish your hiring process and the person start his or her duties, right? So there are a lot of cons, just something you need to think about. The next, I want to share why processes from big companies are not working. We usually think in this way. Okay, the Google, the Alphabet or Amazon, Meta or Netflix, any other big companies, they do a lot of stages. Why don't we just copy them? Why don't we just copy their processes and so on? But look, you're not Amazon. You're not Google. And this process working for them because they provide it. They made it to work for this specific company. And this company, they have their own context. They have own context of corporate structure, organizational structure, the technologies they use, the skill set is needed. They have their own budget. They have a huge budget for hiring person they need. So think about it. And when you try to optimize or make improvements for your specific, I don't know, for your specific hiring process, try to think about your context, about where you're now, what your funnel, how it looks like, how can I improve? But let's see it on the next with my case. Here I describe only one case I have. This is like, I don't know, the best case I have in optimizing hiring process. And this case is about how we make an optimization for half of the year. We start in August and finishes around the January to optimize process, and step by step doing some optimization stuff. And I will share what kind of optimization, how we think. But this is our context. The company has 700 people and it has a period of active growth and a plan to double the number of employees during the year. And as a result, it was done, actually. So it's really, I don't know, really fast. And if you think,
are you talking about full number or just engineers?
It's full number. As about QA engineers, how I calculate as a manager how many person we need in 1 year. For example, if in this company we had around 30 or 40 QAs. So when you start to calculate, usually in proportion, you would think about the same like counts. Like if you growing in double as a company, so probably you will double as QA. So it works almost everywhere. So it's just general basic calculation. So we would expect to hire 40 person for the company during the year. If you think in general, maybe I think it's possible, like if you conduct a lot of interviews. But let's think, if you want to achieve to hire 40 middle and senior QAs, how many technical interview you need to make to hire this person? And when you think about it, so I would say, like in general, is around 400 interviews. So for hiring 40 persons, in general hiring process, you would need to conduct 400 technical interviews. 400 technical interviews, it's more than 1 year to do technical interview daily. So one technical interview per day, working day. I think it's a lot. So you can't double if you have such process, right? So we start to think how we can achieve this. I mean, we need to achieve this because we have an efficient hiring process, and a lot of top management like starting yelling why we hire so slow our QAs. We have a huge demand right now, and we have big plans for the future, so we need to think about the optimization. All right. So this is our funnel, how it was. The sourcing of suitable candidates, our sourcers, our person looking for candidates, provide these candidates to recruiter. Then recruiter had communication with this person and had a small QA quiz, asking some basic questions about what is QA, what kind of test design techniques you know, stuff like this. Then we have a technical interview with live coding, which is long for 1 hour and 30 minutes. And it's, I think it's not normal, but this is how it was. Then we have like culture fit. We call it behavioral interview about soft skills and stuff like this. And then we have an offer. It's similar to the general process, hiring process. But if we think about it, and when we start to calculate, and because we didn't have any statistic, and we start to think about how much time we need to hire a person, we found out that average time for hiring was 3 months. So I don't know how we can achieve to hire 40 QAs if we have only 12 months and one person is hiring for 3 months. I don't know. And this also, because we have kind of chaotic stuff and even the funnel is not optimized, we had a big queue. So because this long hiring process lead us to have a queue in product teams that are waiting for their QAs. So everyone, all the hiring top management waiting for their QAs to their tribe. And even after 3 months, priority changes. If we had some documents such as sorting head, we call it sorting head. So like it was like this. Okay, we have a good candidate which is passed technical interview, and we asked the top management where you want to apply, where you want to place this person, in which team. Because during these 3 months, the priority changes, new teams created, and stuff like this. And we had such team. And the overall strategy was not to hire to the specific team, but to hire in general to the company. And this made us a lot of obstacles because not everyone was so universal to be in the company, you know. So we start to think how we can optimize process, and we here divide on several parts how we can optimize it. The first, this is the stage where our team, QA team, which were responsible for hiring process, can impact by ourselves and don't touch any other teams like recruiters, sourcers, or hiring manager. So we try to figure out and optimize our process to spend less time and make a better technical interviews. Then we optimize our feedback because our feedback was a little bit chaotic, random, and we need to provide it to stakeholders, to the top manager, and to the recruitment team, and also placed in all the recruitment software like Bamboo HR and we didn't have any structure, so also that leads to huge delay in the feedbacks. We didn't have like responsibilities who's supposed to provide the feedback. So we also tried to optimize the feedback, and also we were thinking about feedback like an HR branding. So we were thinking if we spent a little bit more time and make the feedback better in general, it provides us better experience for the person who looking for a job, and then he just tell, okay, I had a good process of hiring people in this company, so he can invite more person for us for our funnel. Then we try to optimize selection phase. Selection phase is where we think about how we can have better selection during CV screening, recruitment interview, stuff like this. And then we optimize distribution and onboarding process. So how we distribute the persons between the team and the company in specific, I don't know, specific technologies or skill set, and then provide a better onboarding process. Let's start from technical interview. So this is how it looks before. It's 1 hour and 30-minute long. We have a live coding, and we had a long and comprehensive feedback. Really, I don't know. As I told you,
How much time do you spend for live coding? 30 minutes or more?
I think it was a little around 30 minutes, but it depends, because sometimes if the person starts to think a lot and we need more timing. So in general, it could be 45 minutes, like a half of interview, when you try to figure out what the person knows or not. Also, it was built on some general, I would say, the common task, not like specific that it's really good for the company, I would say.
The task was to check programming skills or QA automation frameworks. What kind
about
of
basic about programming language.
Okay.
Yeah. And some best practices, the task was about to write a palindrome to verify if the write a function, if string that goes to this function is palindrome or not. So something like this. If you know some specific about the Python, you're doing some slicing, and if you're not, so you are doing like cycles. And this was our plan to improvement technical interviews. So we are trying to reduce time box to 1 hour, but to reduce it, we need to remove something from technical interview. So we decided to remove live coding from interview, but instead of this, we decided to make a test task for the person to spend some time for this test task at home, and we are okay with it. For sure, it leads us that some person didn't want to make this test task, but we were okay with it. We understand that kind of risk, but for us, it was like, okay, if you don't want to spend this time for test tasks, you may be not really motivated to work with our company or something like this. So you're spending time for the test task, we are okay. And if it's good,
Did you estimate how much time person need to finish?
Yeah, I will share in the next screen. And also we made a structured semi-automatic feedback. I will describe what means semi-automatic feedback. It's not like AI making a feedback, it's our feedback, but we made some kind of automation to make it faster. And usually we had sometimes 3 or 4 person per interview, including the person from the teams and so on. And then we decided to have 1 or 2 person per interview. So if sometimes you don't have the partner with you going to interview, so you're supposed to be only 1, but usually it's 2 person. And I will tell you why 2 persons. About the test task, we had 3 parts for this test task. It's a basic quick quiz, which was usually on recruitment screening, but we decided to move it to the test task. So don't do it on online call when talking with recruiter or sourcer, and the person need to answer some bunch of questions in the quiz. The most, I think the hardest part in this quiz was the English level, and because a lot of person was with Slavic and they didn't have time because it was time boxed, the quiz. So sometimes they didn't finish with answer a question, but it really basic quiz from basic questions from ISTQB. You couldn't find this question anywhere, and we expect that person would answer this easily. The coding task on Python.
Sorry, all questions are closed. Like you can choose the answer.
Yes, with 4 answers and choose 1. The next task was on Python on JS. It's similar to palindrome task. Actually, we do on live coding, but we ask something to write in offline, not on live coding, when you can sit around, think about it. And the time box for this task was about 30 minutes, but mostly they finish in 10 minutes or less. And the next part of this home assignment was test design task. You would need to write test cases for the function you wrote on coding task. So they pretty relative, this task, and they have relations. It was like this, and if everything was okay, the person goes to technical interview when we ask about the experience, mostly. And the next part that we improved here is feedback improvement. And feedback improvement plan was make a structure for the feedback. So we have a good structure. The structure I will share on the next screen. The next improvement plan, it was about decreasing the time for the feedback and make it semi-automatic. It's how it was made. So on a hiring or on a technical interview, we were 3rd person. 1 person was leading the interview and asked questions about the past experience, about anything like this, about what we need. And the next person, we had a specific Google form, which was split on different topics. For example, we had topics for soft skill, we had part for technical skills, we had part about some case solving. So the second person, when the job seeker answering the question, the second person just typing the answers and start to analyze these answers and put some conclusions about these answers. And for technical part, we have topics about knowing the programming language, knowing the different types of testings, the different levels, about who is, for example, we had a question about who is responsible for quality in a team. And also we had questions if the person had experience with, as I said, CI/CD, what kind of experience it have, and so on. So the second person just type in this. And when we finish our interview, so the second person who fill out everything, he fill out the then conclusion, recommendation, which were discussed after the interview. He press one button, and this form transforms to the feedback form. So it just it creates Google document, which is shared with two interviewers who was on this interview. And then we just, in 15 minutes, just make some small adjustment in feedback if everyone agreed. And we place this feedback right to the Bamboo HR or recruitment process. And this helps us to provide super fast feedback, like really fast. And as for feedback structure, it was like this. We have a common vision. It is written with decision part. So if we agree to move forward with this person, if we agree to do something like this, I don't know, or we not agree to proceed, and then we try to write about why we not want to move with this person further. And then we write a recommendation, which goes from recruiter and goes directly to the job seeker. So really we put some useful recommendation, what to learn, what to read, what to do in the future, what try to do, why the person not fit to this particular position. And also we had technical skills part, as I mentioned, about programming languages, about the different tasks that was solved by person with different CI/CD or IDE, or I don't know, even using Git. The next part is case solving part. In our interview process, we have questions regarding something like this. You come first QA to the product team. The product team responsible for release something, and you are the first QA, and please describe your first week or first month. What will you do first, or your first 3 steps? So, and we are looking about how the person think in terms of this particular case. And also we have a soft skill part. For the soft skill part, we have we usually make some conclusion about how the person think about team members, about overall motivation to work in our company, and how was talk in general, what we were talking about, if he nervous or not nervous. Sometimes maybe you don't feel, when you communicate with person, you feel like it's not your person. You just describe your feeling about communication and so on. And we also fill this form. But the next part, what we made is we made shift left, but we made shift left not in testing. We made kind of shift left in hiring process. And what is this? It's about sampling, how we make better person come to our technical interview. Because in technical interview, we improve what we can, and we figure out that sometimes the person who comes to technical interview, it's not the good person, like not good person, but not the right candidate for our position. And we start to think about how we can make this shift to have a better candidates in our technical interview. And there are 2 parts that we were thinking about. The first is requirements for candidates. So we start to think, do we have all the information about the candidates, and do we have information regarding what kind of role and what specific job the candidate's supposed to do on his job duties and so on. And this is how general requirements for candidates were. And this is something crazy. How you can work, you know, the tribe 1, and for tribe 1, the manager asked, okay, we need 4 QAs in Q1. Okay. I understand. Okay, we will try to find 4 QAs for Q1. But what the person's supposed to do? We don't understand.
By tribe, do you mean like feature team?
Yes. No, tribe is like a direction of several product teams. For example, payment tribe and all the
departments.
Kind of departments. Yes.
Okay.
And for example, this payment tribe, there are 4 teams, 4 payment teams, but they are responsible for different product parts of the payments in general.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
And for example, for tribe 2, we need 2 QAs in the 2nd quarter, and so on and so on. But this is not a good, I don't know, requirements for candidate. And what we tried here, we tried to go to the manager and to team leader and ask, what do you really need? What kind of person do you really need? Because it's not, look, so we try to figure out what kind of jobs the person's supposed to do. And the funny part that everyone wants good, experienced senior, but when you ask them what the senior is supposed to do, and they ask, do manual regression testing. And then you try to think, do you really think that anyone can agree to do manual regression testing daily or weekly or any stuff like this on a senior position? Is it really how we can hire this particular person? Okay. And this is question when you ask, so what we do in this part, we start to write in all the things. We start to write in all the requirements, and then we lower our expectations. So we figure out that sometimes we don't need seniors. We need strong, I would say, strong middles. This is the part that we improved in requirements. The selection phase. Also, we have many talks with sourcers and recruiters about the persons we need. And we try to describe this kind of person. And because we have previous experience with good hiring, so we ask, okay, we need the person like this. And the recruiter understand, okay, I understand what this kind of person, I understand his skill set, how the way he communicates or she communicates. So we can find similar person. And sometimes it works really well. And yeah, so in this sampling improvement plan was like close collaboration with sourcer and recruiters, and also with managers and hiring managers. And we make a comprehensive job description with all details, and we create a external tracking system. It was simple table with all the position, but because as you can see here, the position was like we need 4 QAs in Q1, but this includes all different kind of QAs like senior, middle, with automation on Python or with knowledge of C# or something like this. So in our detailed tracking, we split this one request for 4 several requests. And sometimes the one from these 4 needed not for first quarter, but for the second quarter. So we can focus on these 3, right? And this is how we step by step started implementing these improvement plans. And we come with this funnel in point B. So this actually you would see that there are not a lot of differences between funnel A and funnel B. Even more, we divide the technical interview into 2 parts. So in general, the funnel works more steps, more stages. But in average time for hiring, the way how we improved, it's 3 weeks from position, when opening vacancy, and when you make an offer. Because we know who exactly we need. What is this person? What is his skill set? What he's supposed to do? Also, we have a bunch of referrals, and it's also improved this. Also, we can provide a fast feedback. When we provide fast feedback loop, so we can proceed with more stages fastly. So we can proceed with 1 stage in 1 week, not in 1 stage. We can proceed with all stages in 1 week. For example, in Monday, we have a good candidate. We assign him a home assignment, and he do this assignment. On Wednesday, for example, we can have a technical interview, and then we provide in the same day feedback. If everyone agree, we can have on Thursday behavioral interview, and then on Friday we can have an offer if everything is okay. It's ideal case that it was. But I want to mention that there are some obstacles you may meet. So the first is hiring manager are not willing to collaborate. So you can meet their resistance from their part. And this is how you're supposed to be proactive and also try to work on the parts you can impact to. As I mentioned before, we start from technical interview because it's our impact, it's our process. We are responsible for technical interview. So this was the first point we improve. Then you can change the process if you don't have authority for changes. Here, the same thing. If you can change the hire process, you can change it. You need to find the authority. You need to ask the persons to give you this authority so you can change the hiring process. And this is how you need to think about. And conclusions for you to think. Conduct the hiring process and transparently as soon as possible. So the maximum transparency between all the stages, between all stakeholders, hiring manager, recruiter, sourcers, and you as a hiring person who make a technical interview. Make this clear. Ask questions. Communicate. Synchronize. Then the second part, do a job analysis. So when you do job analysis, ask what the candidate will do on his job duties, what kind of task, how you distribute this task by persons, and so on. Hiring into the team. So this is the important part. Hiring into the team is easier and better for hiring than into a company, because you're hiring person that fits for the team, and you don't need to find the candidate who is full of different skills and ideal in all parts. I think the live coding is overrated, and for now, for sure you can cheat with ChatGPT, and the same you can cheat with ChatGPT on task. So probably the coding part is not really important for now. Think about it. Sometimes the project the person have on GitHub is better. But if you don't, then need to think about how we can check it. Solve your problems and close requests gradually. Do it step by step. Don't do a lot of changes in one time. Do one change, see how it impacts your process. If you improve this process, okay, move forward with this. So then change another small steps, only small steps. Train the entire hiring team. So you need to conduct training how to improve your hiring process. Just communicate, think about, I don't know, maybe you will find some best practices that works well for you to learn about it and so on. And as it mentioned before, the ideal hiring process is when you can hire a person to the company without conducting interviews and many additional stages. And the last one, hiring process is not finishing on the hiring. So think about onboarding process. Think about how the person will work on first day, on first week, in first months. So what he or she is supposed to learn, what the candidate should know, or how it should prepare for itself. And the last, my screen here, what should you do now? First of all, make a process analysis. Find out, figure out what is your funnel, how it's supposed to look, how it's right now, and how do you feel about these stages. Try to find points where you can improve without affecting others. As I mentioned before, try to think about, for example, technical interview. Do you have efficient technical interview? How do you provide feedback? Do you provide feedback efficiently? Then communicate with other hiring team and ask how can you make a better process. Because hiring, it's not only your responsibility, it's the responsibility of several different people involved into this process. So communicate with them, ask them, do they feel you have an efficient hiring process? And think about how you can improve it. And I think that's it for today. Thank you. It's right now.
Thank you. Thank you,
hour.
Artem.
And
yeah, it's totally fine. We still have time. So first of all, thank you for the talk. We already have some questions in the chat. I'll start reading them. One of the questions from Alexei: what was the fail rate? How many hired by mistake didn't pass trial period or left within several months by themselves? I believe after the improvement or maybe before.
Okay. This is a good really questions. We had bad experience with hiring person and we tried to we assigned the person to the wrong team and the person didn't want to work in the team. This was first experience we have, but then we assigned this person to another team and it was fine. So basically it was like this. The second case we have, the person didn't pass really his trial period. As for the rate, I can't tell you exactly the rate because it was like we hire maybe 10 or 15 person and then 1 or 2 left on different. It was different cases, not only about the hiring fail. Actually, the one was really hiring. It was a hiring fail, but sometimes it happens. If we are talking about the rates, so overall rates was like this. When we have a first funnel, funnel A, we have pass rate through the technical interview. It's about 10%. So for 10 candidates, only 1 pass technical interview. In the end, what we finished with, it was around 70. So it's because we make a good sampling. It's the most important. Even more, our team, it's team of test leads. So we call it QA core team, and this QA core team was full of test leads. We were 6 person, and we were need to find another one. And our funnel was like this. We have 7 candidates. From these 7 candidates, were 2 person that got the offer. And 1 was declined, refused by candidate, and 1 was accepted. So, I mean, for the position on, I would say, more than middle position, like it's harder to find good test lead or technical lead and then senior, because you need to make better process of hiring and figure out it really fits. But 7 candidates, only 7 candidates, and I don't remember how many technical interview we had. Maybe 7, probably 7, right? But 2 offers. I think it was good performance.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah. One more question regarding onboarding changes. Have you changed your onboarding after the improvement of hiring, or it was like the same? And how do you like evaluate onboarding process? Is it like mature enough? Does it need any change at all?
Onboarding process, I would say the onboarding process is part of hiring process, but it's something with that you need always think about it. And our onboarding wasn't perfect for sure, and I think we could improve onboarding process more. And we did onboarding optimization in parallel with hiring, because new people come and we need also to provide better onboarding experience to the person. Our process was in general like this. So the person comes to the company. The first week, he has or she has a business onboarding. So this is onboarding where you have trainings and learn about the business for the company. So you understand how the company works, how it make money, what is important for the company, how it grows, and so on. This is the first week. When I start working in this company, it was like 2 weeks. They decreased it to 1 week. So the onboarding became more intensive, and I think it's better than 2 weeks, almost chilling and reading some presentations. And on the second week, the person has onboarding in our QA core team. And how we improve it? Basically, what we did, we create a specific task for onboarding for each person, and the person for 1 week supposed to make. Usually, it's something to build about automation process. So to build an automation framework, and not only write it in the code, but also it's supposed to integrate all parts together. So we have GitLab, we have like API, shared API that the person could use. And we ask the person to create an automation framework for specific API endpoint and write several cases. And then the person supposed to integrate this automation framework and create a pipeline in GitLab for this task. So you can launch it on, for example, by button or launch it by trigger, anything like this. This is the one part. The second part was was about test design. So the person works with our test management tool and create some tests. So we can also give him a guidance about guidelines, how we write test cases, what are requirements from our part. And also we have some naming convention for the project, naming conventions for the test cases. So it's easy to navigate, to find out what is there. And also the person supposed to integrate this test management system with automation framework and CI pipeline. So basically, you have a full cycle of everything connected. So after 1 week, this person joined the team, and if it's this is sometimes, and most of the cases, it was like the first person is in the product team. So we are sure that this QA can build an automation framework from scratch using our instruments. And we saw the cases when the person like comes and in 1 week after our onboarding, in 1 week, he built up from the scratch the automation framework and start doing first automation test in his week. Or I mean, in his team. It was really interesting.
Yeah, it sounds very good. I would say if person can contribute after a week, it's quite fast. I have one question regarding the feedback you are giving to candidates. From my experience, it's quite hard to get feedback. So the question is, have you received some like gratitude or feedback from the persons who received this feedback? Because it's really nice procedure, and I think it's good for self-development. Have you heard from these candidates, maybe someone returned to you after first, let's say, failed approach, and then you hired them?
Actually, we didn't have such cases, but we had cases when the person come to the second time after the first one. But it was really interesting because the person, when we read the feedback, and our first question on technical interview actually was like, what the person learned or did after our feedback. And it was found out that the person did nothing. Like
Nice.
he didn't learn on his feedback, and for sure we just told him no, because come on, no. Feedback is not something. This is what we expect. You supposed to learn from feedback. Okay, you may not agree with our feedback, right? You may not agree, but it's something. How can you learn and improve your skills? And if we made this feedback, probably this part is important for us, for the company.
Yeah, understood. Just one question come up to my mind, more or less ethical. Let's say in the process of interview, you understand that person doesn't fit the company, doesn't fit your team. Will you continue the interview, or you will stop it and say goodbye? What is your thought about it?
I would say I'm the kind of person that will finish the interview, but I can say that if everyone agreed and candidate also agreed that he's not a good fit for the position or for the company, we can stop this interview. I think this is a good case, but I don't know. I'm feeling uncomfortable in such cases, really, and
yeah, it's true.
So I'm trying always to finish, but from my perspective, I'm always thinking that people, I don't know how it make this polite on English. Like, we are adults, right? We we are not okay. We are not stupid.
We want to be adults.
Yeah. We are not such kind of person. Like, I don't know. So what we want. So I'm trying to find anything in the person, what is good, what his knowledge about, what he knows about, and stuff like this. But in cases that the person is not fit, I think also it is good if everyone's agree and the person is not fit, so we can finish the interview. So don't spend time, all of us.
Okay,
Maybe
so
I can
yeah,
just
I'd
stop
like
share,
to.
and maybe someone can turn on the camera. And
Yeah, would be great if someone turned the camera and asked the question.
actually, because
Or
I have a lot of time, I can sit here for an hour and answer the question and discuss anything.
you can start mentoring session for the whole group.
Yeah.
So, folks, if you have questions, you may put them in the chat box or just unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, I think one important thing that I didn't mention for the trial period is after the person is hired, it's really good to have objectives for the person for 3 months. So when you have a this
Like
kind,
set a goal for 3 month period.
yes, for sure. It's really important because we didn't have in the beginning actually, but we figure out when the trial period ends, what happened? Like, you try to understand if the person pass or not pass this trial period, and it was on the feelings. Like,
Yeah, it's psychologically hard even for the candidates, to compare with other teammates. Am I good? Am I bad? What shall I do?
So this is good to have trial goals, and it's made more transparent, this period, for the candidate and for you, because in the end of this period you can understand if the person did good job or not good job. So this is really important one. For example, we had some kind of trial goals is to build I don't know, the smoke test set and automate it or something like this in trial period. And sometimes it was like, okay, just not have a bad feedback from colleagues. It's also maybe a good point. When you first QA, you can set the goal, for example, build an not automation, but quality assurance process, right? So it depends of the team, on its nature, on their problems, on their processes.
I see one of the problems, when new hire joined some product team and inside this team, he or she is alone. So how to compare, how to make, this assumption, am I good at it? You mentioned that you have for the first week some kind of task that will be fit into this team, but I would say just my feelings when I'm working alone, it's quite hard to understand, am I doing right or not?
Right. We have question from Artur.
Did you have a cases when you hire, for example, a senior engineer, but after trial, she acts like a middle? Did you downgrade grade and salary or fire the person?
I can't recall such cases, but in my vision of this case, it's bad hiring process. So you made a wrong decision when you had all the process in your pipelines, I would say. So the best thing here to fire person, or actually what you can make a trial for the person. If it fits you, for example, as hiring manager, you can make a trial for person and discuss it with this person actually. So if it's agree or not that it is not on your level, and you can provide some kind of individual development plan for this person to improve skills, because it's about the difference. What it's not like title, for example. You have, all right, you have expectation on middle and you have expectation on senior. And when the person come, it meets expectation on middle, but don't meet expectation on senior. And the question is, do all this person is not meet all the expectation or particular ones? So if particulars, and you agreed to, with everyone, agreed to wait and I don't know, to wait while this
There is
person will
some kind of development plan, maybe.
yes. So if everyone agreed, you create for this person development plan. It works for development plan. It works for this person like a trial. And if it's not past this trial period, you split your pass.
Yeah, I like your answer because it's first of all honest and transparent for both parties. Alexei is also like giving more or less same question. If you hire middle, but you see that person works like senior, will you change salary, increase it, or somehow communicate that this person should be like put upper, or you will keep it like it is?
I think it's my responsibility as a manager, if I see if someone works as senior and above my expectation and above expectation of the position, it's my responsibility to propose for promotion in any ways, like promotion with salary, promotion on position, promotion on anything. Like for me, here is no any other options in this case. This is the only way.
Okay, thank you. One more question from Alexei. Do you put any soft skills in that list of personal targets for trial period as well? Only not bad or good references from colleagues? Like, do you have list of soft skills you may like put for persons for improvement? And I'll add to this question, for example, if person is not so well in hard skills, will you still hire and teach that person, or you will skip him?
Actually, the goals could be like set up both soft skills and hard skills. And the goals for trial period could be made in some kind of individual development plan. And when we discussed with
Can you
the
provide
person,
some example of soft
yes.
skills? Because for hard skills, that's more or less clear.
Okay, even in English level of English, it can be, I don't know, it's hard or soft skill, probably soft skill, right?
Yeah, I think soft skill because it's about communication.
Yes. If this is person supposed to provide feedback, I maybe at the in this goal to set up and provide good feedback. Sometimes I don't know how the person provides feedback for colleagues and so on. Maybe I don't know what about. Usually the soft skills is something that in person and you can't evaluate it like in general.
You mean like firmware in some tool? It's like already inside and
Yes.
it's hard to change. Yeah, I quite agree with you.
So something like feedbacks, for example, for communication, I can say, because when you assess the person, you hire this person to your company, you assess the way the person communicates with you. So probably you would expect it good communication in your product team. But after sometimes you can figure out what is this kind of person, if it's okay or not okay, or maybe the person should learn about, I don't know, emotion intelligence, about something like this.
By the way, do you wait for trial end if you are not happy with candidates, or you can fire even before 3 month period?
It depends, actually. So first of all, trial is a trial, and you're supposed to provide fast feedback, and not only feedback. So you don't need to provide feedback only in the trial ends. So you're supposed to provide feedback continuously.
On
For
weekly
example,
basis, or how
weekly,
frequent?
bi-weekly, yes, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. As soon as the person made the task, you also can provide the feedback. You're supposed to provide the feedback. Otherwise, when the trial ends, and if you don't have like a goal, actually we had some cases. No, look, we had a person. The person didn't have a good feedback, but the person didn't have a goals for trial period. And in the end of trial, when we try to think about what we're supposed to do with this person, the manager comes to me and say, this is not not our person, and they feel it like, it feels like it's working slowly, it feels like it's working bad, something like this. But it was like it feels. And I was asking this person, did you made a goal for this person? He said, no, we didn't have a goal. So how you can understand, how you know that this person is not fit for your team? I understand, like the manager feeling, like you don't feel
Yeah,
this
it
person
can
in your
be
team.
emotional.
Yeah, but it's not really how it's supposed to work. When you come to person, you need to provide him feedback. What you would say, I don't feel like you in our team doing a great job. Okay, this is good feedback. No, this is not a good feedback. And also, this is not timing feedback. You're supposed to have a time in your feedback.
Okay, thank you. One more question from Alexei. Do you make any kind of difficult situation during an interview to check some soft skills of candidates? For example, you tell something fake and unacceptable about the job and see how candidates reacted and then discuss it. Like,
No,
I don't know, maybe you
I
put some glass of water and check.
no, I never did such thing. And more important, I'm always telling the truth about the company, about the processes, about the team, and anything. So I think that transparency is the most important part. Like, because if you tell fake information to the candidate, and when he get an offer and come to your work and see different situation, he may ask, what, you lied to me, right? And this is a really bad situation. And for this specific particular and specific question about fake and unacceptable about the job and stuff like this, no, I never did like this. So I don't know, actually. Maybe some person do.
Yeah, that's, I meant fake obvious and discuss it because you tell it's fake. Like you tell something and then immediately you tell it's fake and you just like see the reaction maybe.
I don't know if it works. When you look, when you hire a person and when you have a specific process, ask yourself, why are you doing this? why you asking this question, what you try to find in his answer, what you try to.
Alexei gave an example. For
Okay.
example, this work will take 20 hours a day. For example, you hire someone and you are telling that person is going to overwork every day.
No. I didn't tell such thing. If you can, after this question or after this sentence, tell this is fake and you don't need to work 20 hours a day.
Controversial. Okay.
Yes.
One question from Alexei. Continuing comparing the hard and soft skills, if you need to lay off one person from team, who you will choose? Someone who is worse in technical or social aspect? Like you will first fire someone with bad hard skills or someone with bad soft skills?
Interesting question, because most this question without context, and I would say it depends. It depends on many things, like on context, on the team, or on the company. Why?
Yeah, maybe Alexei, you can unmute yourself and ask the question more specifically with some example.
Actually, I don't have examples. It's like a question which is regularly asked by recruiters on interviews. So I would like to hear the answer from the professionals.
You just want to challenge us.
Yes.
Okay, so basically this question starts with the context. Why you're supposed to lay off, why you need to lay off, and the context. What does the team consist from, right? You can even more, you can see the context behind this person. Sometimes, for example, one person have family with, I don't know, children's, and situation, maybe he had some how it calls, when the person have credits for the apartment or credits for the house, and another person is single one. And
you mean personal reasons?
Yes. Because layoffs is something that unexpected, right?
But by the way, if you want to fire someone, will you give like one more chance? Like you will have some one-on-one and you tell, I'm going to fire you, but I'll give you some like time to change your behavior or something like that. What is your take?
It's always like this. I mean, look, it's better and even less expensive to teach someone to help them grow and change their behavioral and skills than fire and hire another person. And when you look in my talk, when I told you that hiring process is really expensive, and when you made a mistake in your hiring process and you need to fire the person, try to think how much money it takes for the placement. And in general calculations, it's about the half, like 6 months salary for this person. So you want to, I don't know, you want to fire this person, but think about it. You need to pay 6 months of his salary for hiring process, and also you need to pay this person 3 more months. So in general, you would need almost 1 year's salary for hiring one person for replacement. because you're not just fine. So I think it's better is
Yeah, it's
to
hard
have
decision.
it's several. You have to make several feedback session, see the person is improving, not improving, tell honest feedback, right? You need to make it honest. You need to tell him what is wrong with his job, how this person can improve his job. And if this person make progress, it's good, because you can wait and you can see the result from his work, right? But if you're
But I think you should put some deadline as well, but not
yeah,
like
for sure,
waiting for 6 months when the person
yeah,
decides to
uh,
change.
in my experience, what we did, we made a trial for 3 months, like 1 quarter, and we set up the same goals for the person to improve his job. So, and
Fair enough.
yeah, and more than this, the company promote not firing people, so they gave them several chances, so you would have several chances if nothing goes wrong.
5 lives before you
Yes.
got fired.
Yes.